The 49ers got good news and then bad injury news and then kind of good injury news today. We'll talk about it. We'll break down the Patriots from a fantasy and betting perspective. Plus, Michelle has a beef with Brandon Aiyuk. We explain on today's Gold Diggers podcast, brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. What is good, everybody? Welcome to the Gold Diggers podcast on the Gold Standard and the Fans First Sports Networks. I'm Rob Stats Guerrera. She's Michelle Majuk. It is Friday before week 4. Michelle, how are you doing on this fine day?
I'd be doing better if we didn't have to come on the show and talk about 2 bad losses, Like, right now, they should be sitting 3-0, going in to play the terrible Patriots, being like, oh my goodness, this team's going to be 4-0. They are just like gliding through the season like we thought they would. But instead, we have to talk about all their issues and all the problems they have. And it's still a game that I am extremely confident going into, just like I was in week 2 and week 3. So I guess my confidence doesn't matter whatsoever. But like, I cannot envision any way, shape, or form that they lose this game. But again, I've been overly confident the last 2 weeks.
Well, this didn't take long. I knew we were going to get this today from JCG 1987, YouTube channel member. Thanks for the super chat. Michelle's boy, Jauan, going all out for her. Michelle, go ahead. Apologize to Jauan Jennings.
I wish I had a mimosa so I could cheers to him, because this man, I don't even want to call him a boy, right? This man killed it last week, and he showed me a different side of him that I've ever seen, right? Like, before, he was making some good, like, third down catches. It's like, good job. Like, you're doing your job. This game, he was a beast. Like, he showed that he could play at an elite level. That catch over that guy's, I don't even know who the defender was, but just going over him and taking that ball over his shoulder, I'm like, he was on something. He won me over. I am now a huge Jauan Jennings fan, and I'm very, very sorry to Jennings for ever doubting him.
Wow. Okay. There you go. Yeah. I mean, I said the same thing. I didn't know he had that in him. 11 catches for 175 and 3 touchdowns. First Niners receiver with 3 touchdowns in a game since Terrell Owens in 2001. It had been a quarter century since a 49ers wide receiver had done that. George Kittle did that against the Cowboys last year, but he, of course, is a tight end. But still, props to Jauan Jennings. Incredible game. Poor guy, every time he has a great game, we don't get to celebrate because the Niners lose. This game, the Super Bowl, but a lot of people were hitting me up as it happened, saying, oh, Michelle's got her boy, Jauan Jennings. So everybody should be satisfied now.
I will say, he was my pickup of the week for fantasy going into that week. And my last line was, I did say something of the line of, we would be talking about Super Bowl MVP Jauan Jennings if the 49ers could pull it out in overtime or something like that. But I did point that out. Like, Jennings, I mean, since that Super Bowl game, something clicked for that man, and he is killing it. And I don't want them to go away from him now, right? Like, when Deebo's back and Kittle's back, like, keep using Jauan, because use him in that way. It's been absolutely amazing.
So, well, let's talk about that, because we all kind of got surprised yesterday. All of a sudden, I've seen tweets and video, and Deebo Samuel's out there at practice, like running around. Now, he was limited, but still, that completely took me by surprise. John Lynch was on KMBR this morning and said Deebo's kind of surprised them with how fast he is healed. He said a big test, a big factor in whether or not he plays is going to be today's practice. Can he participate? How much can he do? How does he feel after that? But still, just to even see Deebo out on the practice field, I was like, whoa. Kittle's been out there in a limited fashion. So, like, the cavalry is sort of coming for the 49ers.
I don't want him to play. And it's not because I don't want Deebo out there. If they need Deebo Samuel to beat the Patriots, then this team is so incredibly in trouble. Like, they're just screwed if they need Deebo Samuel to beat the Patriots. Like, let him rest again. No reason to put him out there this week. Jauan Jennings and Brandon, can we make Brandon Aiyuk have a good game, right? You're paying him $30 million a year. Can you ask him to step up? There's no reason to push Deebo back this quickly. Wait it out. And the schedule is going to get harder here soon. There's just no reason to push him back.
The last thing you want is for him to go out there, play a few snaps, and then re-aggravate it and have another setback. That was always the fear with Christian McCaffrey, too, and it will be for me whenever he comes back, which there was a little bit of an update there, too. that was always the fear with that too. You want them to come back and not just like, oh, I can play for one drive or something like that. Like, no, we need you back, return to performance, not just return to play. But the fact that he was out there at all really made me happy and encouraged that, like, whether it's this week or next week, he's going to be out there in short order. Even just getting Kittle back, which he said yesterday he feels terrific, and it looks, all indications are that he's going to play. I mean, the offense moved the ball well last week without him. If you've got Jennings playing the way he's playing, and Kittle comes back now, and Mason's still doing his thing, and Aiyuk is still out there, like, okay, now we can really cook with gas.
Absolutely. And if both Kittle and Deebo want to take off one more week, I'm okay with that, because after this week, you get 2 divisional games in a row against the Cardinals and Seahawks. Those aren't going to be easy. Then the Chiefs and the Cowboys. Like, at that point, I think the Cowboys will have figured out their issues a little bit on defense. The next 4 weeks after this are brutal. Sit out one more week, get fully healthy, and then come back.
We've got a lot of questions about the Patriots, which we're going to get to. But first, I do want to mention this, what Kyle Shanahan said about Christian McCaffrey on KMBR yesterday. He said, quote, "The whole point of putting him on IR is to guarantee that we couldn't do anything for at least 4 weeks. And 2 weeks into it, the whole point was just to rest him for 2 weeks and not do that. And now we're going to start hitting the rehab harder and trying to get him back into football stuff and see how it responds. So we'll see how he responds here. We've let him rest here for a couple of weeks." So I think they kind of want an answer one way or the other on Christian McCaffrey. He went to Germany, got schnitzel and some other procedure, I would imagine, or some procedure. We'll see what happens with that.
The latest I saw, that I don't know if it was true or not, it was on Reddit, but after going to Germany, like, it looks more like he might not be back till week 12 or 13 is what I saw.
No, well, okay. There was Eric Branch talked to a doctor who had not examined Christian McCaffrey and has not, like, he doesn't have any particular knowledge of this specific case. He talked in general. He knows a lot about that procedure that they do in Germany and the recovery time from that procedure. So he talked about, just in general terms, if he had the procedure on X date, the more likely return would be a few more weeks down the line rather than right away. But people, I don't know, I guess they didn't read the article. They were kind of confused by that. Plus, Niners Nation had a headline that said Christian McCaffrey gets bad news after procedure in Germany, which frankly just wasn't true. I don't know why that headline was there, but I think a lot of people got the wrong message about that.
Okay. I didn't dig in enough. That's on me. But I don't know when we expect Christian McCaffrey back, or what he'll be when he gets back. But I think they're gonna have to learn to win without him.
For now, yeah, it seems like that, and maybe for longer, we'll have to see. Before we get into our best bets, let's dive into this Patriots game a little bit. A lot of people are concerned, and I was concerned too, about the Patriots because they can run the ball a little bit, or at least they want to run the ball a little bit. Ramondre Stevenson can break some tackles. Jam 18 says, "I fear the 49ers won't be able to stop the run." Of course, we know Javon Hargrave is going to be out. Jordan Elliott went down, got carted off the field at practice yesterday, but John Lynch said today it's actually better news. Elliott stepped on somebody's foot and he rolled his ankle, but I think they got positive news, and I think there's a chance he may even play. So that's like the best possible outcome after getting carted off. If he can be there to kind of reinforce the defensive line, that will help. How worried do you think people should be about stopping the Patriots' ground game?
If the 49ers offense can do what they should and put up points, then it should be the exact same thing that happened last week. They couldn't run anymore because the Jets were beating up on them. So they couldn't keep going to Ramondre Stevenson. I mean, Stevenson barely even played in the second half of the game because they needed Antonio Gibson in for receiving work. Like, that's what this offense needs to do. Get up, get the lead, so that they can't run, because that's your big weakness right now, right? And that's the only thing the 49ers have. They have no good wide receivers. I do have a best bet for one of their wide receivers, but it's not because he's good. And then also, like, they don't have a passing game. So all you have to do is stop Ramondre Stevenson. And if you have a lead, then that's going to limit them being able to use him. So that's just all they have to do. Just put some points up against the Patriots.
The Patriots threw for less than 100 yards against the Jets. Jacoby Brissett had 98 yards passing. That is so hard to do in 2024. That is horribly inept. Not that this, look, it's a small sample size, whatever, but the Niners run stopping is actually better with Hargrave off the field. With Hargrave there, opponents are averaging 4.9 yards per carry. When he's off the field, they average 3.9 yards per carry. Now, look, it's a very small sample, but Hargrave was more of a pass rusher than a run stopper. You throw Givens in there. You throw Yetur Gross-Matos may move to the inside. Jordan Elliott will be in there. Jordan Elliott was very good against the run last year. 40% run stop rate. That was 7th among all defensive linemen in the NFL last year. So Jordan Elliott can stop the run, and he's going to have to.
I'm really not worried about the run in this game. What we have to be worried about moving forward is their defense when they can't create pressure. Like at third and long defense, it's the passing defense that has me scared. Like, yeah, Aaron Jones, Ty Chandler, they had, some good rushes. And then last week, Kyren Williams, of course, scores the 3 touchdowns and they do struggle to stop him. But that's really not my biggest worry. It's that if they do not create pressure, they cannot stop the quarterback. They are allowing nearly 100-point higher passer rating when they don't create pressure this year than when they do. They are incredible when they create pressure. 29.5 passer rating allowed, 3.9 passing yards per attempt allowed under pressure, 36 completion percentage. But with no pressure, they're like the worst in the league. They are the worst in the league. 128.3 passer rating that they allow with no pressure, 10.3 passing yards per attempt, nearly 75 completion percentage. They just don't have the secondary right now that, if the team's not creating pressure and making it harder on the quarterback, it's so incredibly easy for them.
If whoever you're playing at quarterback, if they're comfortable, they're going to be able to find somebody. It's 2024. Passing has never been easier. Captain T. Morgan says, Michelle, when are you going to put some respect on JJ's name? Geez, you missed the beginning of the show. It's the first thing we did, Captain. So I suggest you go back and listen. Not now. This is our time. But eventually, we did give JJ some love. So I just want to
gave him a whole apology.
That's true. King Joser says, much love, Michelle. Have a drink on me. Also, did you know that Brock has 15 games since he started with a 110 plus quarterback rating? And since then, no one is even close. Dak has 8, but Dak is Dak.
Yeah.
That's a lot of mimosas he just donated, Michelle.
I want to thank you so much. I can go buy 2 bottles of champagne with that, of my Andre. No, sorry, I get Cooks. It's a step above Andre. Okay.
Did you get the Asti? I told you to get the Asti Spumante. That's the good stuff.
No. Maybe I'll try it with this 20 bucks.
Why would you listen to me? No, go ahead.
I will say, no, this is a great stat. I love you sharing that. I love stats, but I have a fun one too about Brock. If we're just going to dig into this, Purdy has 9 career starts with 130 or higher passer rating as a starter. Most in the NFL since 2022. By the way, he only started 5 games in 2022, so that's crazy. But it's also the most it's 3 more than any player through their first 25 career starts in the NFL. This is going to be his 25th start this week. He already has 9, so that's the most. The next closest is Lamar Jackson at 6, and then some Hall of Famers below that at 5. So, I mean, what he's doing is incredible.
Scheme merchant.
He's incredible.
That's what some say. Well, here's some encouraging stuff getting back to the pass rush, which we were just talking about. The Patriots allow the highest pressure rate in the NFL, 46.9%, almost 47% of the time they allow pressure. And when you send 4 or fewer, which is what the 49ers generally like to do, the Patriots are still averaging pressure on 43%. So you should be able to get pressure. You have to get pressure in this game. If you can't do it in this game, I have real concerns that they will ever be able to do it against anybody.
Yeah, the Patriots offensive line right now is brutal. I mean, Brissett got sacked 5 times last week, and he didn't even play for most of the fourth quarter. It's just their line is so bad. They're allowing so much pressure. This should be an easy game for Nick Bosa to put up a couple sacks. And we're going to get into some bets here with Leonard Floyd. And let's see something from him as well, right? He only has 1 sack through the first 3 games. That came in week 1. We need to see more out of this defensive line. Get some blitzes in, right? Make it hard on the Patriots. They're making it so easy for teams to stop their pass rush.
Especially on third down. Get pressure on third down. I feel like the Niners never get a sack on third down, right? Like a sack on first and second down is great, but a sack on third down ends the drive. And I feel like most of their sacks come earlier in the sequence.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about TJ Watt. I feel like he always gets that sack on third down. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I bring him up constantly because he always makes whenever they need a play to be made, boom, TJ Watt makes it. Like every time. It's unreal.
He's so good.
All right. I don't know how you snuck a TJ Watt reference into the show.
I can always. It's so easy.
Yeah, I know. You just have to get your Steelers stuff in there. You're feeling all good. Now you're back on the Justin Fields train, which is ridiculous, but okay.
I was never off the Justin Fields train.
No, you should have been. That train derailed multiple times. Dave,
what team is 3-0 right now?
Yeah, big deal. Dave 184 Infantry YouTube channel member says, take the under on this game, Michelle. Let me just quickly check. What is the under? I don't have it in front of me. Terrible job by me. Total points, 41. Jeez, 41. Seems a little low.
It does, but like I think the 49ers probably put up like what? 28, 30? I mean, can the Patriots put up any points?
Yeah.
I would probably take the under, yeah.
It depends if the 49ers do stupid things, special teams errors, or turning the ball over and giving the Patriots a short field. I mean, I've been saying it all week, but just it was harder to lose that game against the Rams last week than to win it. The amount of things that they had to do wrong consecutively in that game to lose it was unbelievable. But they did it, right? And when they do stupid things like that, it doesn't matter how talented you are or how good you are, you can give anybody a chance.
And I know there's this story out there about Brock being so nice to Ronnie Bell and like bringing him up. I don't know. I just don't know. I get it, right? Brock, you're being a good leader. Why are we bringing up Ronnie Bell? Why is he still on the team? Because he cannot be trusted out there. Like he cannot see the field again.
I don't know, people are like, well, he was good in practice, blah, blah, blah. To me, I would have cut him. I would have cut him just to show some urgency. And if he's going to be there, I guess then you pump him up, right? Like if he's going to be on the team anyway, you might as well have him in as good an emotional state as you can have him.
Sure. But I mean, would you ever trust to target him again?
I wouldn't. No, I would rather see Chris Conley get the targets.
Yes.
Frankly.
Jacob Cowing, anyone but Ronnie Bell.
Yeah, Cowing missed practice because he was sick. Hopefully he can get back out there. Trent Williams was a little sick this week too. Maybe there's something going around in the locker room. Dale says, ban the effing number 10. Yeah, whether it's Ronnie Bell or Jimmy Garoppolo or Kyle Williams, I think, were number 10 when he fumbled the punts in the NFC Championship game in 2011. Jam 18 says Cowing. Oh, right. Not close to playing. Yeah, because he doesn't know the offense or something. I don't know. Not because of the illness, though, which is crazy. Which makes me wonder how fast Ricky Pearsall is going to get on the field when he comes back. Kyle Shanahan said on KMBR this morning that they're going to open the practice window for Ricky Pearsall after this week, as soon as he can come off of IR, and that he's recovering great. And everybody is like kind of stunned that he's been able to do this. But he's missed more practice time and training camp and preseason stuff than Jacob Cowing has. So if Cowing can't get on the field, is Ricky Pearsall going to be able to do that? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Because like you mentioned, he was missing the summer too with different injuries prior to, getting shot. So we'll see. I don't necessarily think they need Ricky Pearsall right now. You can bring him in slowly and, put him in at times and move along his process slowly. It's not like they have to push him in quickly.
So we will have to wait and see on all of that.
When are we going to talk about Aiyuk? Because I'm just sitting here like.
That's exactly what I was getting to. I was trying to do a nice smooth transition and pause, but sure, you could grab the steering wheel and just yank it in the direction you want the show to go. It's just fine. A lot of people have been talking about the play with Brock Purdy last week where the Rams bust the coverage. Aiyuk is supposed to run a curl, but because the Rams screwed it up, he just runs to open grass. Kyle Shanahan said that's exactly what you're supposed to do in that situation. And Brock didn't throw him the football. Brock talked about it yesterday. And essentially what he said in a really long quote was he wasn't really sure where the safety was. It wasn't that he didn't see Aiyuk. He saw Aiyuk breaking deep and he was like, wait a minute, that's not what he's supposed to do on this play. Why is he doing it? Where's the safety? And he couldn't work through all that in time to let it rip, unfortunately.
Yeah. And you know what would have helped him? To put your hand up, Brandon Aiyuk. This is what I talked about on Monday when we were on the Bleacher Report show. And you kind of like shrugged me off, right? You're like, yeah, this is a stupid thing. I think it's incredibly important. All the best players in the league, when they're open, they put up their hand to help their quarterback know, hey, there's not a safety here that's going to pick you off. I am wide open. Hit me right now. Like, don't wait. Hit me. I'm open. Let's go. And Kyle, even in that, if anyone listened to yesterday's show with you and Levin, you played a clip from Kyle, and he says Aiyuk did do the right thing, right? And he says he did the right thing, but then he goes in to explain, what he expects from the wide receivers when there's a broken play. And he says, if there's a broken play, he hopes the wide receiver sees that. He puts his hand up and takes off. Like, he specifically clarifies that a wide receiver should be putting their hand up and letting the quarterback know, like, hey, broken play, let's go. And I think Purdy's whole thing, when he's saying, like, I didn't know if there was a safety there, that would have helped 100% if Aiyuk just let him know, hey, it's a broken play, hit me. And I think it's ridiculous that we're not pointing this out, that Aiyuk just I don't know, he just had no urgency. Even after the play, when he didn't get hit, he didn't look upset about it. Aiyuk is not acting like a star wide receiver.
So to me, that putting the hand up thing is more so that the quarterback sees you. Brock saw him. That wasn't the problem.
I don't think it's just so they see you. I think it's so they know it's a broken play and they know that they're safe to throw it.
You want your quarterback to let it rip, whether the dude's hand up or not.
What if there was a safety he didn't get to see really quick? He's like, oh, shoot. Like, why is he so wide open? It's probably a safety running over. He doesn't know. He has to go through all that. And then by the time you go through it, why not? Like all the other star wide receivers, just ask your $30 million a year receiver to put his hand up. Like, why are you fighting me on this? I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Why you don't understand what I'm saying.
No, I get what you're saying. I don't think that he would have been like, well, I don't know where the safety is, but Aiyuk's hand is up, so I'm going to throw it. Like, if he doesn't know where the
Aiyuk is telling you that there isn't a safety. Like, there's not a guy that's going in. That's what he's telling you with his arm. Like, hey, this is a broken play. Throw it. You're safe. You're good. That's what the arm up tells you.
It fits in with Brandon Aiyuk. Like, we're learning the kind of but he's not a rah-rah guy. He's not a
okay. So don't help your quarterback because you're shy, I guess. I don't know.
Well, that's who he is. I will say the other thing too is a lot of the Niners don't put their hands up, and I think usually part of the reason is because when they're open, Brock hits them with the football. But we don't.
When they're open on normal plays, this was a broken play. So let the quarterback know it's broken, like every other star wide receiver does in the league.
Brock should have
frustrated by this that you just aren't understanding and asking Aiyuk to do the most simple thing in life. And we're like, you know what? No, he's just shy. He's not a rah-rah guy. Like, I'm so frustrated. I'm so frustrated.
I understand what you say. I'm just explaining how it fits in overall with the character of Aiyuk. There was a shot of them on the bench. I think it was Aiyuk and Jennings.
That's true. Someone just said Kittle often puts his hand up. He does. When he's wide open, he puts his hand up because that's a normal thing to do. He does. Kittle puts his hand up. He does.
I can't remember a time where I specifically remember Kittle.
Go watch back the receivers. I feel like he's always putting his hand up.
Dale says Michelle is 100% right. Is it on a broken play? Is it on a play that's not a broken play where he's just open? I don't know. The point is, Brock should have thrown it. Brock should have thrown the ball. And there was a real awkward exchange with Kyle and Matt Mayoko. And Mayoko asked him, like, do you go over what to do in those situations? Because Kyle had said, like, that is the right thing for Aiyuk to do. Like, when they screw up, don't run your route. Go to the open area if there's a coverage bust so you can get a big play. That, to me, said that there is, like, a general framework in place for what to do when there are broken plays. So I had no problem with Mayoko asking about it, and Kyle kind of laughed, and it was just a really
because Kyle's a bully.
He is a bully, especially when he feels threatened. Corey Soto says, with all due respect, he didn't put his hand up is so stupid. Brock should have hit that, plain and simple. The best do and don't need the hand.
But the best put up their hand. So how do you know they don't need the hand? Because everyone puts up their hand. So we don't know that.
Here's the question. If Aiyuk gets open this week, does he throw the mailbox up?
He better. I mean, that's just a normal thing to do as a wide receiver. I don't know why we're acting like all the wide receivers across the league don't do that. It's just that's how you communicate with your quarterback.
I thought it was very uncharacteristic of Brock to not see it, like, or to not let it rip. Usually, Kyle even said, like, usually.
I think it was the point in the game where he knew right? Like if I throw an interception here, that's what's going to screw us, right?
Yeah.
I think if that's earlier in the game, he probably takes that chance. Like if there's a safety, whoops, I guess. But like we have a whole game. Like this moment, he could not throw the interception. And I think that also came to it, right? Like I just need to take care of the ball right now. We just need a first down. That's all we need. We don't need the touchdown. I don't need to risk it without knowing if this is actually a broken play or not.
Plus, it was, even if we get a field goal, we'll make it a 2-score game, and then the game is basically over at that point. So, yeah, he was probably thinking a little more conservatively than he normally does. And it's just like, again, it's just like one of those freaking rare circumstances that just conspired to stop the 49ers from winning that game. Like, how many times does that happen where Brock does let it rip and it's great? It's a big play, no problem. It's just this one time, it didn't. And then what happened afterwards obviously didn't work to the 49ers' advantage.
All I'd like to say is if Kittle's running down that field wide open, he has his hand up.
Strawberry React says if Brock had missed a lurking safety and had been intercepted, all you people criticizing him would also be eviscerating him for throwing it.
Absolutely. You guys would be calling him Jimmy Garoppolo. That's 100% what would happen.
I would never. What is this? Spy Dirty says Stats prefers they use Morse code. No,
you're somehow against doing the one thing that you can communicate, the wide receiver, the quarterback, that everyone does. And for some reason, you're just like, no, Aiyuk isn't that type of guy. He's not a wide receiver. I'm so confused. He's not a receiver?
No. Okay, maybe I'm not being clear. I don't care if he throws his hand up. Throw your hand up. Great. I'm just
How do you not care if he doesn't? You should care that he doesn't.
Because I don't think it made that big a difference on the play. But sure, throw your hand up. What I'm saying is, it fits with Aiyuk's character of not being like a rah-rah guy. Like, I'm not saying it makes it okay. I'm just saying, like, if we look at why maybe he didn't throw his hand up, because he's not the throw me the damn ball, Keyshawn Johnson.
If you're not that guy, then you should be making $30 million a year. You have to have that personality.
That's a whole different discussion. But again, I'm not saying he shouldn't throw his hand up, or I'm against throwing his hand up. Go ahead, throw it up. What do I care? Throw your helmet in the air if you want to get the guy's attention. I don't care. I'd be interested to see what Brandon Aiyuk's target share looks like this week and how they do. Let's move into some best bets here. We always give you our best bets on the Friday show. How many bets do you have for us this week, Michelle?
I have 4, and now I'm just frustrated.
Oh, okay.
So no, I need to get in a better mood. You put me in a bad mood, Stats. Good job.
Like, you think we're fighting. I don't think we're fighting.
I am heated. I don't think you're understanding. That's just what I'm frustrated about.
I'm understanding. It's not a difficult point to understand. A lot of top wide receivers throw their hand up when they're open. I get it.
And that's how you communicate that there is a broken play. That's the part that you're not clicking.
I get it. Like, I've watched football. I saw Randy Moss throw his hand up. Randy Moss would throw his hand up like at the snap of the ball.
But that's what Shanahan said to do in his thing when he was explaining, like, when there's no one, you put your hand up and you run. You go, you run straight and you take off. Like, you're communicating to your quarterback there is a broken play. And that's what Shanahan said you should do. I don't know why he didn't point out that Aiyuk didn't do that.
Stanley Harris says the receivers even do it in Madden. You know what's funny? Actually, if you go back and watch the play, Trent Williams points at Aiyuk as he's blocking a guy on that play. I swear to God. Trent puts his hand up and he points down the field to Aiyuk.
So Trent was also trying to communicate. Weird, because guys should be communicating.
I'm not against it. Like, what? Why do you keep thinking I'm against it?
I'm not saying you're against it, but you're not clearly saying you must do it. And I'm saying you must do it.
Great. Must do it. Awesome. Throw your hand up. Again, he saw Aiyuk open. Like, the hand up, if he thinks there might be a safety there, he's not going to throw it even if Aiyuk's hand is up.
Aiyuk would be that's him communicating with you that there's not a safety. That's the part that's not clicking. Him putting his hand up is telling you you're safe.
But
that's giving him the go to know he's safe without having to look. That's what's not clicking.
Or maybe Brock is like, maybe
let's move into our best bets. You're not getting it. You're frustrated.
I just disagree. It's not that I'm not understanding. I disagree.
You're not allowed to disagree with me, Stats. Let's go.
All right, best bets on the show. How many did you say you have for us today?
I have 4.
4 best bets today. Where do you want to lead off?
I feel like we should lead off with Brock Purdy because we're talking about him anyways. His line is at over 233.5 passing yards. Love that for him. Each of the last 2 weeks, he has over 290. Now, hopefully they don't need him to pass as much in the fourth quarter because hopefully they have a big lead. But I do like the Patriots have a good run defense. I think to get the big lead, Purdy is going to have to be passing a lot. He has the second most passing yards in the league through 3 weeks. Geno Smith put up 327 yards against the Patriots. Aaron Rodgers put up 281. Like the Patriots are a team you can pass on. You can't, it's harder to run on. So I love Purdy 233.5. I think that's way too low, especially with him at home where he normally throws for more.
It's up to 234.5 right now. Not that that's a huge difference. I would maybe consider making this bet right now, though, because we don't know officially if Kittle and Deebo are going to play. If they both play, does that number go up? I don't know how much the Vegas would adjust it, but if it's a number you like, look, if you're trying to hit an over, it's always to your benefit to get it when that number is lower.
Yeah, and I just looked at number like 45 minutes ago. So it's already going up quickly. So go get it.
Mm-hmm. So there you go. Go make the Brock Purdy over. I do think the Niners are going to run the ball. I think there's a chance they may have to throw a little more than normal because if they're not as successful running the ball, obviously they're going to need to depend on Brock. 234, it seems pretty low. I'm surprised. Unless they think the Niners are going to be blowing them out and just running constantly. But I would join you in that. I would take the over for sure.
Do you want to go with your best one or me go with another one?
Well, I'm deciding. I have 4 written down. Let me start with a cheapie. And that is Jordan Mason carries in the game. The number is 19.5. That seems low to me. Jordan Mason is going to get a bunch of carries. I know they mixed in Isaac Orendo a little last week. I think Jordan Mason's going to get a ton. I think the play action and Mason are going to be the 2 primary movers on offense for the 49ers. So I will take Jordan Mason at 20 carries. Am I crazy on that?
I had it and then I deleted it because my thought was the Patriots are really good at stopping the run. So how much are they going to want to run it to be good with? And are they going to find success? Are they going to go away from it if they're not finding success? And then also, like we said, if they are up in the second half, maybe they run it more. But if they're up by a lot, it's not going to be ran by Jordan Mason, probably, right? Yeah. Like they're going to put in Garendo or whoever else to get some carries to make sure Mason doesn't get hurt. So I deleted that one, but I mean, he'll probably have close to it. He has every week this season.
Yeah, I love Jordan Mason. I know they're trying to save him a little bit, but I think that before that happens, he'll hit the over. I don't love the number at -114. That means you have to bet $114 to win 100. Not the greatest number in the world, but I'm very, very confident in the bet. So that was my first one. I have a couple others, but before we get to more, I just want to mention, if you want to make any of these bets, go to betus.com. Feel free to make it there. They sponsor the program. We're very grateful for that. You can receive 150% on your first deposit and and 125% on your second and third deposit up to $2,000. Just use promo code YouTube150 for 150% on your first deposit, 125% on your next 2. Check out BetUS. Okay, Michelle, what else you got for us?
So Jauan Jennings, you got to go back to him, right? And BetUS is not even thinking about his last game. They have him at 48.5 receiving yards. So I'm going to take that over. And I know Kittle could be back and maybe even Deebo. But even if Deebo is back, I feel like they're going to limit him, right? They can't just throw him in. So Purdy right now has a perfect passer rating, 158.3 when targeting Jauan Jennings. They have been lights out. He's not going to have another 175-yard game. No, I don't expect that. But in week 1, he had 64 yards. In week 2, he didn't hit it against the Vikings' tough defense, but he still had 4 targets. It's not going to take many targets for him to get there. And I fully expect for him to still see about 6 targets in this game. So I like the over 48.5.
Now, if Deebo plays, do you still feel comfortable there, or is this only without Deebo?
No, I feel comfortable even if he plays. Because like I said, I think he'll be limited in snaps even if he does play.
I had him on my list as well, especially too, if the 49ers got up early a little bit, they may, even if Deebo plays, they may be like, you know what, maybe stay on the sidelines for a little while unless we need you, Deebo, and let's keep feeding Jordan Mason.
And Christian Gonzalez just shut down Garrett Wilson last week. I mean, everybody shuts down Garrett Wilson. I don't know if we're just overrating that man, but if Aiyuk sees a lot of Christian Gonzalez, it might be another game where Purdy has to look for Jennings.
We know he's going to go to him on third down. I actually had that on my list as well. So you stole my thunder a little bit on that one. I think that we may just see flat out more targets in general to Jauan Jennings going forward. I think we weren't the only one whose eyes he opened with that performance. Again, 11 catches for 175. And he almost had another one down the sideline, which was like a crazy completion that ended up not counting. I mean, man is a monster right now. And he's 6'3", too. I think that Brock likes that. He likes being able to just chuck it up and let him go get it. Yep. They clearly have a trust and a chemistry. Like, for example, I could be wrong on this, and I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but if it's Jennings running wide open down the sideline instead of Aiyuk, does maybe he throw it up there? I don't know.
Jennings puts his hand up, so yeah, he does.
He might. Jennings is like a great, like an alpha kind of thinker. I remember talking to him at the Super Bowl, and he said, and this was like, I think it was like Friday of that week, Thursday or Friday of the week. He's like, I've already pictured the whole game. I've pictured myself having an awesome game. Like mentally, I've already gone through that to try and like prepare myself basically to do it. And of course, then he went out and actually freaking did it in the game. But he definitely has a mindset of like, throw me the damn ball for sure.
And I love that. You need that.
All right. What else you got for me?
It's not a fun one, but going to the Patriots side, Demario Douglas. He's sitting at over 32.5 receiving yards. He led this team in receptions last year. He wasn't getting the targets the first, in the beginning of the season. He became the squeaky wheel, complained about it. And they were like, you know what? We should be getting him more targets. And that's what happened last week. He got 9 targets for 7 receptions, 69 yards. He's not exciting, but his line's too low at 32.5 with what wide receivers have been doing to the 49ers. I mean, every week this year, they're allowing multiple guys to have good games. I mean, in week 1, both Allen Lazard and Garrett Wilson had 60 or more yards. And week 3, Tutu Atwell had 93 yards. In week 2, but Justin Jefferson, 133. Even Jalen Naylor had 54. So it's not like it takes these great talents when I just listed Atwell, Lazard, and Naylor all having over 50 yards against the 49ers throughout 3 games. Like, Demario Douglas can hit over 32.5.
I like those small overs. So 32.5. He could get that on one catch, especially with just 49.
Not Demario Douglas. He's going to need a good 6 catches, but not really. He does probably need at least 5 to hit this. But
knowing the 49ers, they'll probably have Devondre Campbell in one-on-one coverage against him because reasons. So who the hell knows? Although the only scary thing is the Niners get so many damn pass interference penalties that it limits some of these like yardage totals because the yardage doesn't count if there's a penalty.
True.
Spy Dirty says, doesn't Mooney have some kind of injury? So he came into the week last week with hamstring and knee injuries, I believe. But he played obviously in the game last week, and he wasn't on the injury report at all so far this week. So I'm sure he's not 100%, but he doesn't have an injury that they're putting on the report. Okay. My next one, it's going to be boring, but I don't mind boring if it wins me money. And that is Leonard Floyd, 1 sack in the game. It's plus 120. So it's plus money, which I love that number. And I mentioned it earlier, but I'll mention it again. The Patriots pass protection stinks. Their pressure rate is 47%. Leonard Floyd hasn't been good, but when you're facing an opponent that bad, we know Nick Bosa is going to get a bunch of attention. It doesn't have to be pretty. It could be a cleanup sack. It could be whatever. But I think Leonard Floyd's got to get one. If he can't get one this week, then who the hell is he ever going to get one against? And again, at plus 120, I like that number. So I'll go Leonard Floyd 1 sack.
I had him on there as well. The Patriots offense is allowing a 44.8 quarterback pressure rate this year, second highest in the league. Like I just mentioned, Brissett got sacked 5 times last week and didn't even play the full game. Floyd, isn't getting sacks. He has 7 quarterback pressures on the year. Bosa has 10, so he's not that far behind him. I know pressures don't matter, right? You need to also come down with it. Come down with that sack. I mean, they do matter. I don't want to put it away, but that's not all that matters. But I will say, if he's getting the quarterback pressures, though, they should turn into sacks against this team. I also like Malik Collins at plus 150 to get a sack is pretty interesting as well. He's been given a lot of opportunities for pass rushes out there. Maybe with Hargrave gone, they give him even more, So I like Collins to get one up the middle as well.
Look at this tweet from Brett Coleman, who says, in true drop back pass reps, the 49ers defensive line is 26th in pressure percentage, even worse than the Panthers. And I feel like people outside of the local Bay Area media aren't talking enough about just how bad of a sign that is for their ceiling this season, it's not great. I mean, we saw the 49ers be aggressive last year. They traded for Randy Gregory. They traded for Chase Young. They recognized it. They tried to fix it. It didn't really work out. I mean, maybe you can work out a trade for Hassan Reddick, but the problem is he's not going to play unless you pay him. That's why he's not playing for the Jets right now. And it's like, can the Niners really afford to do that at this current time? I know they have a lot of cap room. They're planning on rolling that over. Maybe they get desperate. Who the hell knows? But yeah, that is a scary thing about the defense. That's why we say, like, at least this week you got to be able to do it because the Patriots are so bad.
Yeah, we were worried about this pass rush coming into the season because the depth was so bad. There's a couple areas here with the offensive line and the defensive line where the depth was bad, that if there was a couple injuries, you're going to start getting really shallow. And those are two areas you don't want to be bad in. Like offensive line and defensive line is where you need to be like the studliest. So it's a little bit worrisome for their long-term outlook. Hopefully they can figure it out. Nick Bosa needs to step up and be dominant though. Like he's good. He needs to be better.
I would like to see him win faster. Just beat your blocker faster. It seems like he never really has done that, and he isn't doing it so far this year. Jam 18 points out that even if they traded for Hassan Reddick, he would not be in game shape for a while. I don't know what he's doing, what he's not doing. I have no idea. But, yeah, that's probably a thing, too. We've seen that these holdouts, can't exactly come in right off the bat and participate. Hopefully Trent Williams can get through the game this week without having to get an IV. 2 straight weeks he's had to get an IV at some point. He said it after week 1, I think, I think it was after week 1. His tongue was cramping. That's like everything was cramping, including his tongue. I didn't even know
he's just getting too old. I don't know, because that's crazy. Get that man some water throughout the week.
Dale says Bosa needs to draw some holding calls. He actually did draw one last week. It was very refreshing. It was very satisfying that they find it was like the most obvious hold of all time, but still, sometimes those don't get called. So
they never call them on the top pass rushers. They could call hold pretty much every play. So yes, they pretty much just ignore them unless they're like insanely terrible. I mean, again, I'll bring up TJ Watt, but he could literally get a holding call about 20 times in any game.
I have one more, me with these long odds bets. I always like to put a little money down on one flyer. Fred Warner to get an interception in the game is plus 796. You bet $100, you win almost $800.
Okay.
He's out of his mind right now, Fred Warner is. And I'm just saying, if this is a game where the 49ers potentially could get more pressure, and maybe they're up by a score and Jacoby Brissett's like, I got to make a play, and he's under pressure, maybe he throws one over the middle that Fred Warner can steal. And at that number, even if I put $10 down, I'm going to win $80. I feel like I almost have to try it.
I love it. Try it. I'll go in with you. Let's do it.
Yes.
Not really. Right. I'm not allowed to bet, but whatever.
In spirit. You'll go with me.
I'll go with you in spirit.
Do you have any more? Did we cover everything?
We covered everything. We got
it. There we go. Recap yours quickly for people.
All right. So we got Purdy over 233.5 passing yards. Jauan Jennings over 48.5 receiving yards. Demario Douglas over 32.5 receiving yards. And then Malik Collins over half a sack at plus 150.
Oh, you took the Malik Collins bet.
Yeah, I'm going with that one. I'm going with Collins.
I took Floyd plus 1 or 1 sack or more at plus 120. I also took the Jauan Jennings receiving prop as well. I have Jordan Mason over 19.5 carries. And if you want a fun one, Fred Warner to get an interception at plus 796. We need it. We need it bad. Before we go, Michelle, do you know that today is a very special day for me?
Is it your birthday?
You don't know when my birthday is?
I don't know. It's not your birthday.
It is not my birthday. 16 years ago today, I got married. I married my wife, Erin, my high school sweetheart. That was us. It was raining that day, which they say is good luck, which is totally stupid. It's just something you say to people on their wedding day when it rains to make them feel better. But there we are. If you're watching the stream, you can see the picture. I got the umbrella. 16 years ago. My God, I'm getting old.
I love Erin.
Yes,
she's the cooler half of the couple.
I ain't gonna lie about that. You're totally right. I can't even pretend to joke about that. So that is very cool.
Congratulations to you guys. And apparently the rain worked,
I guess. So I am celebrating that. We're going out to dinner tonight. We got a little dinner date action going on. So basically all we do is go out to eat. We eat our money. Like, we love going out to eat, and this restaurant's like kind of a little bit of a fancier restaurant. So we're very excited about it. That's like the extent of my social calendar.
I love it. I love spending my money at restaurants. It's my favorite thing to do.
John Brown says, when does the pressure drop on Aiyuk? If he has another bad game, can he do it with the playmakers around him? I mean, Kyle kind of defended it by saying, like, the way our offense works, like, we all know there are games where guys just don't see the ball, whether it's Deebo or Kittle or Aiyuk. But, I mean, the expectations change when you have that contract. Whether it's fair or unfair, that's just the reality.
He also has a couple drops this year as well. I mean, he's already been accounted for 2 drops, which I feel like it's been more, but he's been credited for 2 drops this year. He was only credited for 3 drops the entire season last year. He already has 2, which I feel like there's been more. I guess he just didn't get credited with a drop, but he needs to fix those issues.
And soon. Please and thank you. Especially the ones in the end zone. If you're going to drop a ball, at least don't let it be in the end zone, man. That's 6 points. And how much better would we feel if he had caught that pass? Like, would there be as much talk if he also had a touchdown attached to his name? I feel like that would have helped a little.
Well, if he caught that one and then also, Brock hit him on yesterday, we wouldn't be talking about this at all. Or Brock hit him on the deep play last weekend.
I feel like if the Niners were winning more, we wouldn't be talking about it either, because it would be like, hey, Brandon Aiyuk, it would be like almost become a positive. Like, hey, Brandon Aiyuk hasn't even gotten going yet, and we're still 2-1 or whatever the number would be.
Yeah.
All right, so before we go, Michelle, I always ask you, since you're the social butterfly of the program, what do you got going on tonight, Friday night?
Going for some espresso martinis, and then I really need to paint my office, so I'm going to do that at some point this weekend.
You're painting it what color?
Black. My whole office is going to be very different soon. And I have the Brock Purdy fat head to put up on my wall.
Wait, are you seriously painting it black?
Yeah.
Like Vish's office. Vish, everyone always makes fun of Vish when we do the live stream because it's all black. He has nothing on his walls.
I'll have a lot of stuff on my walls. I'm redoing my whole office. It's going to look completely different.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
But did you hear me? I got my Brock Purdy fat head. So I'm going to have Brock Purdy. I'm very excited.
Got to have that handsome man in the background of your office watching over you as you do the show. That is very cool. No Steelers fatheads?
Oh, someone just said, I see a red door and I want to paint it black. What?
I don't know what that means.
But that's a great idea. I should paint my door red.
So it stands out?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. You also got to live in that house, man. I'm not like, I don't have like a 49er room in like 49er colors. Like, I don't know. I don't go that far.
Well, this is only my office, This is all
right. So that's the only thing you use it for. So, all right. Well, I want to see that. Put out some pictures so we can see the transformation when it actually happens. If you want more from Michelle, where can people find more of your work?
On X, that's where pretty much the only social media I'm on. But at Ballblast, I'm Ballblast EM, and I'm writing right now for NFL.com and PFF and have my podcast, but I throw them all up on there so you can see all my work on there.
Before we go, I want to give another special shout out to BetUS. We appreciate it. Thank you for sponsoring the live stream. If you want to sign up for BetUS, use promo code YouTube150 for $100. My video camera is turned off for some reason. Appreciate that.
I didn't know if that was on me or on you, but yeah, you totally froze.
Weird. Also, make sure you join us for the instant reaction show immediately live after the game. If this is your first time checking us out, thank you. We're going live. We go live after every single 49ers game. We break down the good, the bad, the ugly. Hopefully it's going to be good. I mean, if they lose this week, the vein in my forehead will officially explode. But join me for that as well, because we'll be here breaking it down. Have a good Friday. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Bye, y'all.